medical doctor. You also have your own serious medical condition as someone who has himself undergone a kidney transplant. I've taken account of the medical evidence. That does not suggest that your condition cannot be adequately managed in custody. I consider that the mitigating and aggravating factors are in balance. I sentence you to 10 years imprisonment, subject to allowing for the time for which you have been remanded in custody. You will spend 2/3 of that time in custody and will then be on licence until the end of your sentence. You can sit down, please. Senator ekweremadu, stand up, please. There are substantial aggravating features in your case. You knew that the donor was vulnerable because of his young age and his poverty. You had a profound understanding of the impact of poverty because of the work you have done for the ECOA Foundation. You gave direct instructions to ensure that tight control was exercised overseas. Once the transplant did not go ahead, you immediately sought to find another person to be exploited in the same way, rapidly managing to identify several potential candidates. As against that, you have your own ongoing health problems. You have no previous convictions and were a person of good character. I accept Mr. Hicks KC's description of you as having exceptionally positive good character, and that your conviction represents a very substantial fall from grace. You set up the ECOA Foundation and have funded that organisation, which undertakes a very great deal of valuable charitable work to help those living in poverty in Nigeria. At trial, there was a great deal of character witness testimony, including from Archbishop Emmanuel Chukwuma, the Archbishop for the Diocese of Enugu. I have been provided with a bundle of 51 pages of character statements for the purpose of sentencing. I have read all of them. They include statements from a former president of Nigeria, the current president of the Senate, the Bishop of Enugu, the Attorney General and the Chief Law Officer of Nigeria, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That evidence speaks to your role in helping to establish and maintain democracy in Nigeria, and also as an international peacemaker. The evidence also includes moving pleas advanced by some of those who have benefited from your generosity and good works, and also a moving statement from your daughter, Sonia. I take all of that into account. It amounts to substantial mitigation. You were motivated by the despair of your daughter's very serious illness. The weight to be attached to that factor is limited by reason of the fact that, as you recognized in your evidence, you could have sought a genuinely altruistic donation, including from a family member, albeit not Sonia's immediate siblings. After taking account of the aggravating and mitigating factors in your case, I impose a sentence of 9 years and 8 months imprisonment. Subject to allowing for the time which you have spent remanded in custody, you will serve 2/3 of the sentence in custody and will be on licence thereafter for the rest of the sentence. You can sit down. Dr. Beatrice Ekweremadu, would you stand up, please? In your case, I adopt a starting point of 6 years custody. I do not consider that the aggravating factors that are present in the case of your co-defendants apply to you. You were not directly involved in the identification of the donor and the evidence does not show that you were directly involved in the attempts to identify a further donor after the transplant did not go ahead. I take account of all the mitigating features that Mr. Mahindru KC has identified and the content of the thorough and helpful pre-sentence report prepared by Jessica Stephen of the Probation Service. You are a person of good character. You helped set up the ECOA Foundation with your husband, and you have been closely involved with its important charitable work. Much of the character evidence I have read applies also to you. You were also motivated by the desperate plight of your daughter and by maternal love. Further, in your case, I accept that although Sonia is an adult, you have substantial caring responsibilities towards her. Your incarceration will have a significant impact on her, in that she will no longer be able to rely on your presence as a source of care and support. Having regard to those factors, I impose a sentence of 4 years and 6 months imprisonment. You have spent 234 days on an electronically monitored curfew between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. I specify that the credit period for the purposes of Section 240A of the Criminal Justice Act 2003 is 117 days. So that period shall count towards your sentence. Subject to that, and subject to allowing for the time you have spent remanded in custody, you will serve 1/2 of your sentence in custody. You will then be on licence thereafter for the rest of the sentence. You can now each be taken downstairs.